Today on Third Power Life, we are talking about reflection and how important it is to look back over the things that we've accomplished, where we've been, to help us move forward. So I wanted to talk about that after the intro. Welcome to my journey of self-discovery, life balance, career success, and business creation. This podcast works to answer the question of how successful professionals like us stop drifting and get focused on keeping our careers and businesses growing rapidly while having a full, balanced, and vibrant life that we absolutely love. What we call the Third Power Life. And this is the Third Power Life podcast. So if you've listened to me at all very much, you know that I am a huge proponent of journaling. I think that it is an absolutely critical thing for us to do. My personal favorite is the bullet journal method. I think Ryder Carroll wrote this. I would highly suggest you get it. One of the challenges that I had throughout my life getting into journaling was that I was like, I don't know what to write. And I don't like the physical act of writing. And, I had tried for many, many years, a couple of decades actually, to get into the habit of journaling. And I tried electronic, I tried, on my phone, I tried a number of different things and nothing ever really worked until I got the bullet journal method. I like it because it's kind of a combination of to-do lists and bullet points and journaling. And it's kind of a shorthand way. I really enjoy it. I definitely promote it. If you're interested in journaling, do it. And, and I keep my journals, right? If you look back here on my shelf, yes, I've got the Doctor Who TARDIS and scotch and that sort of thing. But right here, that's about the last decade's worth of journals, right? And, so I look through those every year. I just finished going through my 2023 journal and I actually write my year in review and kind of go through what my overall feeling for the year was. And then I go quarter by quarter and I actually reread what I had written down, or in some cases what I didn't write down, right? There's one quarter this year, third quarter actually. It was a very distracted time. My mother was sick. She ended up passing away. There was a lot of stuff. We'll just call it stuff going on. And so my journal entries were very sporadic and not what I like to do where I do it every day, right? And so that is telling. And so what I wanted to talk about today was really the importance of looking backwards, right? If you've listened to me at all, I'm talking about our purpose, and it's very future focused. Where do we want to go? What are our goals? What are our dreams? What are we trying to do? And how are we trying to make the world a better place, right? And that's absolutely where I want us to be focused. However, in order to know if we're actually making progress, sometimes we need to look back. And it's not all the time, and it needs to be in a very kind of construct way. And so what I like to do, and I mentioned this, I think it was yesterday, the day before, where I'm talking about like New Year's resolutions. There are these turning points, these inflection points in our lives. It can be a birthday, it can be a new job, it can be, a New Year's, right? Where we say, okay, now this is a point where I'm going to stop and shift and I'm going this way, right? And so it's that inflection point. And I like the new year, one, because I'm starting a new journal. And two, it just feels very much like the end of a time, right? And so it's a good point for reflection. So I will look back, and as I did for my 2023 journal, I actually I go through every page and look at every item, do a quarter by quarter review, right? And it's like, okay, what went well? What didn't go so well? What can I learn from that? And how do I need to adjust to make sure that this year that I don't fall into the same pitfalls that I had before, right? And then every so often I will go back and I will look through the previous 5 years. And at some point, next year, because it's the 2025, I will go through the last 10 years and I will read all of it. And sometimes what I find is really interesting where there will be things that I put like on my goal that I want to get done this year that I still don't have checked off, right? And I'm like, that was 5 years ago. What's my, you know, one of two things. One, it's not really that important and I need to just take it off the list. Or two, what keeps stopping me? And almost every time it's something up here in our mind. It's a mental block. It's yeah, well, I don't think I deserve it, right? It's an imposter phenomenon kind of thing going on. Um, and so that's where I'm looking at, okay, if that's really important to me, for me, pilot's license. It's one of those items that's been on my list since the very first journal, 2014. Still don't have it. And so it's like, well, what's going on with that? Right. And it's like, well, it's a lot of time and it's a lot of money. I've spent enough money on other toys and other things that could have gone towards that. So what's really going on there? Right. So that's one for me to sort out with myself, but you get the idea. So it's important to take the time to review, and especially this time of year, review the last year, review 2023. What happened that you have some either control or influence over, and how do I fix it? Now, again, if you go back to my training about, circle of control, circle of influence, and circle of concern, there are some things that are just beyond our ability to change, right? Government, right? The weather, the, death of parents, right? It's that's outside my control. Can't do anything about it. What I can control is myself. It's the way that I perceive it. The message yesterday about Jim Rohn saying the same wind blows on us all. It's just the set of the sails that determines whether we're successful or not. So it's how I react to what happens, right? And so focus in on that circle of control. Here's what I can really do something about. Here's the lesson that I can learn from whatever happened over this year, right? And sometimes it's really good stuff too. I look at my year. I got to hang out with Brandon Sanderson, one of my favorite authors. Got to play Magic the Gathering with him. I mean, that was just really, really cool, right? And so when you look back, don't just focus on what went wrong. Focus on what went right as well, right? And what are the things that I need to do this year to make sure that I'm setting myself up for success, whatever success looks like for you, right? You may have just gone through a really hellacious time, and success will be I make it till, to June and, not have lost all of my hair and, be a basket case, right? Or it could be that you're in a place where, like myself, where I went through all of that drama and lost even more hair and was in a horrible place. And I've now come out of it. And now I'm set for between now and June. I want to sign 1,000 people up for my roundtable and have a thriving community of people that are thinking like this and enjoying this kind of message where we're all lifting each other up and doing amazing things, right? That's where I am now. I'm like moving forward into the good stuff, the juice. And that's what I want for you, right? As I want you to be able to get past the shit that's happened, right? Um, between 2020 and 2023, it's been a challenging time. But now is the time for us to move past that. It's done. It's over. We're good. Right? It's now time to make things happen. And that's where I want to invite you on this journey with me, because I'm going to make stuff happen, right? As I've got my Don't Break the Chain calendar going up here, and it's going along strong. I'm here to every day to talk to you and to help you get that same level of excitement. But let's look back at what are the lessons that we can learn from our previous time, right? And as we're moving forward, I strongly suggest that you do a weekly recap and a monthly recap and a quarterly recap where, tomorrow's my Sunday. So I do my journaling, my meditation in the morning, but it's also, what did I do well this week? What needed, what was the good, the bad, the ugly, right? What do I need to refocus on? And what's my one thing for this week? And I'll do that again the 1st of February. Look back at January. What went well? What was the good, the bad, the ugly, right? And then every quarter. So the 1st of April, look back at this quarter. What was the good, the bad, the ugly? Am I where I thought I needed to be? Because right now I know where I need to be in order to have the goals that I've set myself out for, the short-term goals, right? Our SMART goals, not the big goals, the short-term goals, the tasks, if you will, right? I know where I need to be for my program to have a certain point. So I'm going to be looking back at a week, at a month, at a quarter. Am I on track or am I off track? And if I'm off track, what's my get to green plan, right? So when you do your review, your weekly, monthly, yearly review, am I on track for where I want to go that long term, right? I'm looking back, see where I've come. This is where I want to go. Am I on track? And if not, what's my get to green? And if I am, how can I accelerate it? That's what this review does. It's giving you time. And in today's world, we're so pushed to constantly achieve and to go and to rush and it got to be fast. And sometimes you have to take a step back, take a deep breath, and look to see, what do I need to do to change, to make it so that I go where I really want to go faster. Make sense? So get your journal, right? Make sure you're doing your review. Take the time to look back to see how far you've come, what the issues were, how you can learn from those. Are you on track? And if no, how do you get to green? How do you get back on track? And if you are on track, how do I accelerate it even faster and make it work even more? Who can I bring in to help? All of those kinds of things. And that is how you move your life forward. And you're not just drifting. That's what being a commander is all about, is knowing where I'm going. We're not always going to win the battles, but we need to review each one to know, how do we move it forward? Otherwise, we're just drifting along. And I don't want drifters in this community. I want commanders. So I give you my my desire. I wish for you to join me in being a commander and taking command of your life, stopping the drifting, getting away from that. No more drifting. It's time to actually own our lives and to truly, truly live our life to the third power. Till tomorrow, my friends. Thank you for listening to the Third Power Life podcast. Before you go, one quick question for you. Where are you on the path of life? Are you just drifting through your life? Are you fully in command, somewhere in between? Well, you can find out where you are now by taking my new Commander Survey. It will tell you where you are on your growth journey and how to move yourself to the next level. You can find the link on the screen or in the show notes. Now, all I want to know now is, where do you stand?